My name is Viral Bishop, a student in my final semester of a bachelor's degree in mass communications with the University of Sunderland. As part of my final major, I had to produce a film. I chose to produce a documentary film tackling COVID-19 as there was so much information and misinformation going around. As a journalist with years of experience, I've come across many strange characters. Recently, I heard about alternative practitioner Wayne Caesar, who is championing the cause for using vitamin D in the fight against COVID-19. I decided to have a chat with him to get the other side of the story. Well, it turns out my usual 20 questions were not nearly enough. I hope this guy isn't just some crazy guy and he knows what he's talking about. Vitamin D is your PPE? I guess this is the place. Oh well, let's do this. Can you give me some background information on yourself?
First of all, let me just say I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm an alternative practitioner and have been specializing in allergies, addiction, and neurodegenerative diseases.
What is COVID-19 and what causes it?
What we were told initially and what we now know are quite a bit different, but in the beginning, this is what we were told. COVID-19 is supposed to be a disease that we get when we become infected with the novel coronavirus, which was codenamed SARS-CoV-2. The virus was said to be a hybrid between a bat and a human virus, and that was supposed to be caused by someone eating bats in a market in Wuhan, China. That was popularized on social media, even though that's not possible in real life.
So how did the virus start?
Well, it didn't start in a market for sure. Viruses do not normally jump across species. And in fact, the only coronaviruses to do so happened in the last decade or so, so they seem more man-made and natural.
And why is it the virus is so deadly?
Well, as far as viruses go, the SARS-2 virus is not deadly at all. What makes it dangerous is the overreaction of our immune system after infection, which produces a lot of inflammation, primarily in the lungs, leading to severe lung damage. So it's not the virus that's actually destructive, but the unregulated reaction of the immune system that's doing most of the damage.
Why did some people and some countries suffer more than others?
Well, that was a difficult question to answer at first, but if you examine all the anomalies carefully, a big light, so to speak, is thrown on vitamin D as a common denominator. Normally, there wouldn't be such huge differences in the severity of infection. Generally, viruses do not discriminate, so other factors like skin color or where you live, they don't make any sense at all. Remember that it's not the virus that is actually causing the problem, it's the overreaction of the immune system. Once we keep that in mind, it's an easier problem to solve.
Why did some persons suffer only a mild reaction?
That's a good question. Most viruses do not want to kill their host. They want to have what is known as a symbiotic relationship. They want to exist within the host. If the host dies, then that's the end of the virus. Everything in nature wants to be self-propagating. The virus will be only too happy to live in us and replicate. But our immune system has other ideas. Anything foreign has to be eliminated. So a mild infection, other than being infected by only a little bit of the virus, is really a mild reaction to infection.
How can the immune system destroy the virus?
The immune system is a very sophisticated collection of cells that can handle virtually every pathogen that's thrown at it, unless, of course, it's compromised. We only know how things work in the body when they don't. We know how the immune system works by studying it when it breaks down or when we become sick. So fever, coughing, sneezing, runny nose, itching, etc. are signs of a working immune system. then we call it a disease, and modern medicine tries its best to stop the symptoms and cure the disease.
Why does COVID-19 cause so many complications?
The main problem with COVID-19 appears to be a dysregulated immune system. The symptoms include excessive inflammation, then you get hypercoagulation as well as epithelial damage in the lungs caused by the unregulated immune system running wild. The main system regulator or modulator is vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of the most important modulators of immune activity as well as other functions in the body. If the immunoregulators are absent or deficient, the immune system can over or underreact, causing excess inflammation as well as tissue damage. The action of vitamin D has been known through innumerable studies for a number of years. The problem is that vitamin D has been mislabeled. It should actually be called a hormone, and that may be part of the problem that causes it to be overlooked.
How do we know this, and why isn't it being talked about?
Most people, including doctors, probably assume that it's not important as we don't get it from our food, so the presumption might be that we already have enough of it, even though most of the non-communicable diseases we face are directly related to low vitamin D rates. The fact that vitamin D is actually produced in the body was only discovered in 1978, so it's quite possible that many doctors don't know of the importance or overlook the importance of vitamin D.
Why is vitamin D so important?
Most cells in the body, and certainly all the organs of the body, have vitamin D receptors, and some of them have multiple receptors. So vitamin D is implicated in every single body process. In fact, and this always makes me laugh, the only reason why white people are white is so they could produce more vitamin D as they emigrated away from Africa to the darker countries, those countries with less intense sunlight. Many diseases are strongly associated with low vitamin D levels, including stroke, dementia, asthma, diabetes, preeclampsia, hypertension, pulmonary disease, Kawasaki disease, lung, breast, colon, and prostate cancer, allergies, most autoimmune diseases, including lupus. Many scientific studies on vitamin D have been done, and the information has been available for years. Vitamin D is an immunoregulator of inflammatory response in cases of viral infections. However, why no one has said, hey, we know low vitamin D levels is a problem in lung inflammation. Why don't we try this? Now, that is a question I cannot answer. It's the very same situation with the other diseases that low vitamin D levels is associated with. I can only surmise or say that vitamin D is essentially free.
If this is just a vitamin D problem, why did the WHO declare COVID-19 a pandemic?
You will have to ask the WHO. COVID was first declared as a public health emergency of international concern, and then shortly afterwards changed to pandemic status. Normally, by the WHO's own definitions, a pandemic has to be causing a case fatality rates of over 12%. And that might have gone out the window. In any case, actual case fatality rates were not being calculated. Only the number of dead were being announced, as no tests were done on asymptomatic persons or those suffering mild symptoms that would correctly be able to ascertain the number of infected, and that eventually led to inaccurate case fatality rate calculations. Case fatality rates are suggested to be 40 to 100 times less than reported if you take into consideration asymptomatic cases.
Are you saying that the WHO recommendations are wrong?
What did the WHO recommend? Staying indoors, wearing a mask, and excessive hand washing just reduces vitamin D production. When the restrictions are lifted, everyone coming out will have low vitamin D levels and will be subject to infections, including COVID-19. And hence, a second wave of infection that everyone is now talking about is entirely possible. In 2016, the WHO predicted that 500,000 babies will be born in microcephaly the next year. That almost collapsed the Brazilian economy, and certainly a lot of athletes missed their Olympic dream because of the Zika virus. Right now, there are new drugs and vaccines that have been given a green light to proceed into development without proper testing protocols being applied to them. It's almost as if they intended for patients to die to bolster the argument that a vaccine was needed. Money is a very, very strange master.
What about this second wave?
The second wave is really a figment of the imagination that was put out by those in authority to keep people in line. That's what I think. If you maintain a population indoors and masked, that will deplete their vitamin D levels and they will be subject to being infected by anything that passes by. So it is understandable that as soon as lockdown restrictions are lifted, there will be a rise in opportunistic infections such as the common cold. And that will be blamed on COVID and described as the second wave.
How do you know that you are right about vitamin D?
I don't know for sure since no studies have actually been done with COVID-19 on vitamin D, but anecdotal evidence supports it. Statistics are also in support. All severe cases and the dead have had low vitamin D levels. Even though no testing for D level was done, records of C-reactive protein have been extrapolated to calculate D levels. Also, and importantly, vitamin D level medical lectures are being taken down from YouTube, claiming a violation of community standards. Once there's that kind of pushback, you can bet your bottom dollar that someone somewhere does not want the truth to come out. Ridiculous studies coming to erroneous conclusions were conducted to deny vitamin D implication by only measuring whether or not persons have been infected. That study has and will be quoted as the proof that vitamin D does not have anything to do with COVID-19. It's bold-faced BS. The study authors should be crucified for intentionally misleading people. Then it dawned on me that they may be intentionally keeping people uninformed to keep them sick and dying so that they could sell them on a vaccine solution.
What made you decide to take up this course?
As an alternative practitioner, I'm always interested in disease, especially those caused by environmental or deficient diet reasons, and more so by those that seem to be out of place or of unknown etiology as they are described.
How did you go about it?
I started examining the data and the timelines and noticed that something was amiss. The first was the difference in severity between different countries, and then the question of age difference and the severity of effect. That made me realize that there was something that was being overlooked or ignored. I challenged my theory with the known facts, especially the anomalies. If low D levels could explain away the anomalies, I knew that I would be on the right track.
How did you convince people?
I started telling everyone I knew about it, or at least anyone who would listen. Slowly at first, but I must have been very convincing because after a while I could not find any vitamin D on the pharmacy shelves.
What did you do?
I plastered my car with posters saying, "Vitamin D is your PPE," or "No to COVID, yes to vitamin D." I did talks on the importance of D. Everywhere I went I was talking about vitamin D. People must have been thinking I was crazy. I even did a huge mural on my property wall, which I'm sure you noticed outside.
What about vindication? Did you find anyone else to agree with you?
I decided to search for anyone or anything to support my theory and found some medical lectures online claiming the very same thing. So it was not just me. Then other like-minded professionals started coming on board. Guys like Dr. Modin Sayed in California or Dr. John Campbell in the UK with their YouTube medical lectures. I could see that there was a movement starting to spread the word about vitamin D, but no one seemed completely convinced or convincing.
How can you be sure that this is a vitamin D problem and not some other cause?
In a word, statistics. Scientists in Indonesia found that 98.9% of COVID deaths had low vitamin D status, and only 4% of those with normal D levels died. That's statistically significant.
The WHO claims that the virus is hard to fight, both because it's a new virus and because of its high transmissibility.
Transmissibility and pathogenesis are inversely proportional. When one is up, the other is down. The fact that the virus is highly transmissible tells you that it is not deadly. A dysregulated immune system is the reason for its overreaction. It's not the virus, it's the immune system that's doing the damage. Everyone agrees on that, but no one is saying, why is the immune system dysregulated and how do we correct that?
So why is everyone following the recommendations of the WHO?
The main reason is fear. Fear is our most powerful emotion, much more powerful than love or even sexual attraction. We have been told variously that if you are exposed to the virus, you will get the disease and you will surely die. Anyone around you or near you is a potential carrier of a deadly disease and you should stay away from them. We are now modern day lepers.
But people are dying everywhere. What are people to think?
The fact is, there are many, many more dangerous health problems facing the world than COVID. If everyone had normal vitamin D levels, none of this would have occurred and we would not be in this situation now with a complete lockdown of the entire planet.
So instead of the lockdown and the face mask, what should we have been doing?
The best course of action would have been, and still is, the boosting of D levels in the population, either by sun exposure or by supplementation, and then allowing the virus to circulate widely. This will cause a community immunity that is better and longer lasting than any vaccine. Most of what is being done is with patients already suffering severe symptoms, but more important is preparing the immune system before infections start with protocols including zinc, melatonin, quercetin, vitamin C, and most prominently, vitamin D. But protection of the vast majority will come about by simply raising vitamin D levels to normal. Then we can unmask and come back out of our prisons, back to the old normal.
We keep hearing that a vaccine will be ready soon. Do you recommend that people take it?
Vaccines should be used only in certain situations where a very immune compromised person would suffer gravely if affected by a particular pathogen. Viruses don't actually go away completely. It's only community immunity that prevents them from flaring up again.
How long will it take for community immunity to be realized? After all, Bill Gates said about 7 years.
If a virus has a reproduction number of 2, meaning each person infects 2 others, it will only take about 2 months for community immunity to be achieved. Anyone who says different is intentionally fooling you. The SARS-2 virus is highly transmissible, so its reproduction number will probably be quite high. The entire COVID-19 fiasco seems to be a plan to vaccinate everyone, but the conspiracy theorists believe that there is more in the mortar than the pestle, so to speak. The vaccine was rushed, not so much to get to the virus as soon as possible, but to get to the people before the threat goes away on its own, which it will as soon as either everyone raises their D levels or become infected enough to cause community immunity. Then, just as with the Zika virus and microcephaly, there will be no need for a vaccine and we can return to our old normal.
So how do we convince the man on the street, the ordinary man, that vitamin D is a solution?
Well, it will be an uphill battle for sure. Many people are walking around in masks, even when there's no one around for miles. The masks are a symbol of compliance and control. They show us how much fear can control people's behavior. Perhaps the conspiracy theorists are right and that this is just a practice run for something even more sinister. It is my hope, however, that this will be a learning experience to first show how people can be so easily manipulated by fear, and also to show that the natural way is the best, and that with all the advances in science, all it takes is a little common sense and a good diet to overcome any health obstacle.
Wow, the sun. I never realized how important the sun was. Vitamin D is really your PPE.